I struggle with the world sometimes. I really do. It's often me against the world. And as I get older, I get tired of the fights. Although I'm still a match for anything. But I'd like to blame it all on one certain thing. Anything at all, really, because that would make things so much easier. Then I could have a solid enemy to hate, a solid reason for the times when I am in sorrow. It would be so easy to blame this group of people or that political party, or these religious ideals or that country or this philosophy, etc. It would be so easy. But it's not that simple. I won't have it be that simple. Have you ever looked at ancient texts? I mean, really looked at them. Not the hero stories, we all know those. Not the glorious stories. Those have been revered forever. Those aren't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the common man before he became an uncommon hero. He was always filled with sorrow and fear. So this sadness is truly nothing new under the sun. It's so easy to blame the modern world and its machinations for our problems. And certainly there's something to be said for that, because there's a lot of bullshit going on right now. But consider this. Around 500 BC, so maybe 2,500 or so years ago, Buddha spent most of his life studying human suffering. He said that life itself is suffering, and the reason for suffering is desire or attachment. Because all things change, and eventually we would lose everything, and then we would be in a state of constant sorrow, as most people are. He said, quote, "Suffering is wishing things were other than they are," unquote. How many of us do that? Not being able to accept, I guess. Consider these words from the ancient Hebrew text of Lamentations, written in about 580 BC, so maybe 2,600 or so years ago, mere 2,600 years. Quote, "See how distressed I am. I am in torment within, and in my heart I am disturbed. For I have been most rebellious. Outside the sword bereaves. Inside there is only death." Unquote. Well, talk about desolation, huh? So you can't say it's all the modern world, because here someone was 2,600 years ago pouring their heart out. And it was pretty awful, wasn't it? Consider the man who wrote Ecclesiastes, who said in 300 BC, so maybe about 2,300 years or so ago, quote, "More bitter than death is woman, whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are chains," unquote. Well, somebody certainly had a problem with women, but he certainly did seem sad, didn't he? And that was not the modern world. Do any of these ancient texts strike you as happy? It makes me realize that mankind has been suffering for a very long time. Suffering is part of our nature, and you think we might have learned something by now. Well, that's exactly where I found myself a little while ago, bitter as death. I'd reached my end. Have you ever been there at the end? I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do, because I'd already done everything, and so I did nothing. And in my sorrow I wandered through my house, staying clear of the attic and closets, where all manner of terrible things like to gather. And I existed day to day, doing only what must be done, but nothing more, shaking my fist at the heavens, daring any entity to say even one word. I received the silence I craved. But it was awful. And one day I was hungry, and I was even sad about food, if I recall. What to eat, what not to eat, what causes health, what causes sickness. I was so tired of it all. I searched the shelves, bored to death, when something told me to reach way into the back of an old cupboard, and so I did. I pulled out a quart jar of strawberry jam that was hidden and forgotten way in the back. I had canned it in the summer of 2018. It was 6 years old now, but I wasn't worried about the age since I canned it myself properly and stored it well. Should I open it? Why not? I popped the top and immediately the fragrance of strawberries wafted toward me. I love strawberries. I remembered the day I picked these strawberries. It was hot, sunny, and humid. I was in a field in Maine, and there wasn't a tree nearby to offer even a moment's relief from that scorching sun. And due to my fairness, I have never been able to bear the sun for long, but I faithfully picked and worked until I had a great many strawberries. Then I went home and canned up many cups and pints and quarts of strawberry jam. Eventually, they were all eaten or given away as gifts, except for this one lost quart jar in my hands. So I found some crispy rye crackers and I put cream cheese on them and then spread the jam very thick. Ooh, I bit into one and I remembered what I used to call strawberry jam long ago. I called it sunshine in a bottle. For if ever you could put the sun in a bottle, surely it would have to be strawberry jam. I sat down and remembered that day long ago in the sunny field. That day when I had no inkling whatsoever I would be where I presently was. How could I know? But I had canned the strawberries anyway, dutifully working. That's important. What would I have said if I had known that 6 years later, a despondent me would be reminiscing about the impossible ordinariness of it all? I guess it was a good thing I had captured the sun that day. I thought long and hard about it. The sun is the source of all energy and life in our solar system, and without it there would be no life as we know it. Plants are the only living things that can eat the sun firsthand. That's right, they eat the sun. They literally take the sun and through photosynthesis grow and store the sun's energy in themselves, becoming storehouses of the sun. The animals then eat the plants and they receive the sun secondhand, changed, once removed, but still the sun. Some animals eat other animals, and they receive the sun third hand, changed, twice removed, but still the sun. Mankind eats the plants and the animals, receiving the sun second hand and third hand. But we do not know what it is like to receive the sun first hand, and we never will. Well, not most of us, but that's another story. Only the plants have that honor. Only the plants can commune in totality with the sun, with the source of all life. And it occurred to me that we are all just really the sun, in one form or another. We take the deconstructed hidden energy and reconstruct it in our own bodies. And we must partake on a regular basis as well, as we cannot be away from our sun for too long. And without the sun, we would wither and die no differently than a plant. So I finally realized that I was the sun. And that means you are the sun too, because it's too big for me to hog it all. Otherwise I would. But you are nothing more than the sun. Nothing less either, though. And really, that's pretty fantastic if you think about it. When we light a candle, we mimic the sun. You don't light a candle and hide it on the back of a shelf, or put it in a closet, or lock it in a cupboard. Absolutely not. You put it on display and let the light permeate the space. And everyone who enters the room is drawn to the light of the candle. Whether they want to be drawn or not, they can't help themselves. So, are you sad? It's part of human nature. Everybody gets that way from time to time. Honestly, it's true. Nighttime comes for us all, as one cannot gaze at the sun for too long. But then comes the morning, and you will eat the sun, and you will say, look at me, I'm the sun, and all will be well.